Thank you, and I can't tell you how excited I am for this to come out. It is simply amazing. And there's no projectors, or I was told there's no projectors, so I'm going to be brief in this. So I'm Scott King. I'm the Executive Director of Mission Zero, and I'm honored to be speaking with you today. This is super exciting. And I see a lot of friends and students I work with every day, which is really cool. So during the last 800,000 years, the carbon concentration in the atmosphere has ranged between 175 and 300. At the start of the Industrial Revolution, when we started to burn fossil fuel, carbon was about 175 parts per million. I was born in 1962, and the CO2 concentration had gone up to 321 parts per million. I'm 60 years old now, and in my short lifespan, carbon concentration has gone up another 100 points. We're not on a sustainable future, and we have to change. And the idea behind Mission Zero is literally working with students who are the change makers, who are the ones that are now responsible for fixing this massive problem we have. Barack Obama had a quote that I want to share with you. And he said that this is the first generation to feel the effects of climate change, and it's the last generation that can do anything about it. And so that kind of, it sits in a little bit. It's like, what have we done? What have we done to this generation? And it's not that we lived a purposely carbon-intensive lifestyle. I think we lived a normal lifestyle, a lifestyle that had, genuine riches and amazing experiences for my generation. But I think we're realizing now that for us as a species and for all the species around us, we have to find a way to live more sustainably. And well, let me first, so I graduated in 1985, and I was an electrical engineer, so I did take one writing class. It was a technical writing class. But what was more important in my experience at CU is I met my wife, Tracy, there. Tracy's with us tonight. And Tracy is the reason Mission Zero is here. She is the reason, I'm still sane, if that's barely sane. And so I wanted to thank you, Tracy, for all of your support and help during this entire process. So, thank you. So we got married right after school. It was, got married, got a house, got a job. After a while, we had 3 kids, Kelly, Maddie, and Andrew. All 3 of our kids went to CU. Andrew graduated last year. And Kelly, our oldest daughter, is having her first child in February. So we're going to be grandparents for Sophie. That's going to be cool. So my middle daughter, Maddie, had talked about not having kids because she was feeling anxious about the environment that she would be bringing children up in, and feeling like we had already had too many people in this world already. So it's hard. It's hard for kids. I talk to a lot of students all the time, and there is anxiousness in the student body, and it's the uncertainty of a future that they don't feel like they control. And I get that. It's hard. So the idea that we can allow students to express themselves in the stories that they created in this publication about the experiences and feelings that they have on climate change is inspiring. It really is. So what you've created here is something that I think when people look at it are going to change the way they think and behave. I think the storytelling that you do and the emotion and raw personal feelings that come out of these stories touch people. And they touch people to a point where I think you'll change people's behavior. And they'll understand that we live on this world with all the other living organisms, and we need each other. Everything is connected, and for us to survive, we have to create a symbiotic and balanced environment for all living creatures to survive. I don't know if I want to talk about this, but I'll give it a shot. So Mission Zero started actually in a pretty dark place for me. I had, so I'm an engineer. I think of things very analytically. And during the pandemic, it was a time of isolation, and it was pretty scary. We had a government I didn't feel like was doing a good job in how we responded to it. And it got to a point where I felt like our government wasn't going to be able to figure out how to solve big problems like climate change. Pulling us out of the Paris Climate Accord, saying dig more coal, didn't feel like we were headed in the right direction. So I started building a bunker. I woke up one morning and I said, what are you doing? And I realized at that point that, well, first I talked to Tracy about it. So she said, just go back to the garage. I don't want to talk to you. But I realized that there's probably more positive and supportive work I can be doing than building a bunker in my backyard. And I thought about it. I had been working with the university and the entrepreneurship program at Leeds School, and I realized how much impact faculty have on students, and especially what they learn and how they learn it. And I thought about, one of the things that created that anxiety in me was the massive problem and the feeling that an individual has no control. An individual is powerless to do anything. And I think that's true for a lot of people. And so I started to think about, well, what if we graduated everybody from the university? Every student understood the science, understood solutions, and could take that knowledge and be the change makers when they left the university and the companies that they worked for. Could that solve the problem? Could that be the key to us helping them navigate this immense challenge in front of them? And that's what Mission Zero is all about. It's working with the faculty to help build curriculum and programs around climate in every single course, and it's supporting students in that work. And when I came to CU and started going around the school and saying, how can a donor support the faculty in doing that, I talked to the PWR department. And it was right after the dark moment of my life. So it was an interesting conversation. You can talk to them later about that. But the work that Jay Ellis was doing in the Hindsight magazine was super interesting to me because as a marketer, I believe that the way you connect with people is through storytelling. And that if you can tell stories in a way that can cut across the divides and the chasms we have in our society today, maybe we can start to work together on this problem, which is everybody's problem. And so we came up with this idea, can we come up with a writing magazine that talks about climate change and talks about it in stories that can move people? And I'm still in disbelief that this quality of a product came out of that exercise, and I am so very proud to be part of it. So thank you so much for that. And for the students here, you're fighting for the future of humanity. And I believe this, I believe that yours is a future that must be bold, it's a future that must be hopeful, and it's a future that must be determined. And I feel like it's my generation's job to support you in that. So thank you.